time, Bab's great, and I want to lose weight again, but I also just got really into mimosas.
I'm Brandy Posey, and that's a spacey meatball. That's an impression of me as an astronaut eating spaghetti in outer space.
I'm Tess Barker, and it's kind of cool that fake blood is made out of corn syrup because I'm pretty sure my real blood is too.
Woo! And this is Lady to Lady.
Can you keep it secret?
Neither can we.
Hello! We got Barbara, Brandy, and of course Big Tess. We got a show for everyone that's the fucking best. Come on, baby. It's time to hang out with your favorite ladies. Ladies and ladies. Ladies and ladies.
When I first read Brandy's joke on Twitter, I thought it was going to be I thought of Kevin Spacey.
I was like, yeah, no.
Kevin Spacey is a spacey meatball?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. When you say Spacey, I think,
You go, yeah.
Not anymore. Oh, am I allowed to talk?
No,
Go for it.
You
Let's
can
bring her
talk.
on. I want to talk about Spacey.
No.
We don't want to talk about Spacey.
Not Kevin Spacey, but being Spacey.
the act of being Spacey.
Yes. Amazing former guest of the show. We're excited to have her back. She's the author of Bad with Money, The Imperfect Art of Getting Your Financial Shit Together, Gaby Dunn.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Sorry I talked before I was introduced.
No,
you're
I
great.
feel like that's a good sign because that just shows that you're biting at the bit. Is that it?
Chomping
at the bit.
at
You're
the bit.
chomping at the
You were
bit.
close.
Chomping that
Yeah,
bit.
you
Yeah.
were close.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you feel Spacey? Is that
I always feel Spacey.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm just because I saw Casey Musgraves on Friday. Her handle is
Spacey Casey,
She has a song
yes.
called Space Cowboy. I've had space on the brain.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, do you think she would have written a song called Space Cowboy without a movie called Space Cowboy?
No, and that's what I love about it because it's like this super sad, beautiful song, and it's definitely a reference to the movie Space Cowboys.
I thought it, but the, what's it called? Steve Miller Band. Some people call me the Space Cowboy.
yeah.
Didn't
Oh,
he do it
shit.
first?
Yeah.
You just blew my mind. I totally thought the
I was
movie
thinking about
Space.
the movie,
yeah,
too.
I thought
Oh, but
I think you're right. I think
Steve Miller Band did it first?
Which came first?
Or
Classic.
is it? Or
Space
maybe
Cowboy.
we don't even know it, and that's what they used to
I
call
mean, that
astronauts.
definitely is it. Because Steve Miller,
Yeah.
that song's from way back, and
Some
Space Cowboy was like
2000
years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying
and
maybe
Steve Miller Band
20
was
years ago.
70s.
But I'm saying they call space the final
Yeah,
frontier.
they must.
Maybe Space Cowboy has always been a name for astronauts.
yeah, definitely. I'll go with that.
Wow.
And then, but I guess Steve Miller is not an astronaut. So what a bold declaration to make.
Truly.
He didn't go to school for it.
Space Cowboy.
He might have gone to space camp.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Look, we
that
all went to
would-
space camp.
Did any of you go to space camp?
I did twice.
Bitch.
Really?
Twice? Twice?
Yeah, I went with my bat mitzvah money.
Nice.
Really sound investment.
That's pretty sweet.
No one in my family was like, put this towards college. So I went to space camp in Cape Canaveral, and then I went to Space Academy a couple years later in Huntsville, Alabama.
Was it as cool as it looked in the commercial?
I loved it. I had a great time. I mean, space camp is it's like the first level. So, but then Space Academy, you're like actually doing like fake missions and stuff. But you get the jumpsuit, you get
that's
Dippin'
so
Dots,
sick.
you get
Oh
to
my
go in
God.
the gravity, the G.
You get to go in the G-force thing?
Yeah.
They got to put that in.
Oh, the Dippin' Dots.
Super cool.
And you have like a rivalry with Flight Academy, which is next. It's like the kids that are in ROTC. So like Space Camp has like a hardcore rivalry with like the Flight Academy. What is it? What's the flying one?
Air Force?
Air Force, yeah.
That's interesting.
And like so
Ew.
there's like a real your thing is space, okay, nerd, and it's like we're like cool tough guys who are gonna go into the Air Force or
It's like
whatever.
it's both space. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we're sort of like we're
Well,
both
space is just a
nerds.
little lower. Okay.
Yeah. The first
like, look,
astronauts were
We're both
from the
we're
Air
all
Force.
kids at a science camp. I think we can agree.
Yeah, let's just give in to the
Yeah.
nerdiness.
But isn't
Yeah.
that just how the world works? Aren't we
know.
all just kids at a science camp arguing with
Aren't-
other kids at a science camp?
Yeah, that's why the Democrats are going to lose in 2020. We're all just kids at a science
Yeah,
camp
we're all
arguing
at the
with
same
each other.
science camp trying to get the
Yeah.
dots first. Yeah, that's bad.
You know what I love about the fact that you use your bat mitzvah money for that is that from a young age you valued experiences over things.
I know, which is very dumb.
You think so?
Well, I don't know because no one in my family was ever like save money, which is kind of what started the book. And then I also just wanted to. I was like very convinced for a long time that I was going to work in mission control. So I was like, well, I have to get the experience now.
It was a practical investment.
Kind of in my mind. And then I had always been a writer. And then I was like, oh, you have to do so much like science and math to get to be in mission control. I'm not very good at those things. I should probably just write about space and quit.
I know what you mean, because the only thing I've ever wanted to be besides a writer and an actor is an astronaut. So I wonder if there's like a correlation between kids who want to be astronauts and creative people, because I think it's that impulse of like you just kind of like want to.
You do what I do, and you go to Star Trek camp instead of space camp.
There we go.
So that's what
you're
it
like,
was.
do I
watch
want
a lot
to be
of
a
Star
mission
Trek.
controller? I just like Star Wars.
Yeah, I was basically just like, can we just pretend there's aliens attacking us and that can be dramatic? And that's what happened.
See, you knew.
Yeah, I knew.
You skipped the middle step.
Yeah, because right now I love legal dramas and police dramas, and so every so often I'll be like, I should just go to law school,
Yes.
and then it's like, no, you don't. You just like you want to write a law show.
Yeah.
You don't
Totally.
actually want to be a lawyer.
How
But
do you
it's
feel-
a fine line.
How do you feel about being called on when your hand isn't raised? Because that's what I think every law school scene and everything has ever been. They've just been like, and then Tess Barker, what's the answer?
I would love it. I was
Oh, I
always
hate
in
it.
class raising my hand too much.
Ugh, I
Yeah.
hate it. I hate
So
it.
they were like, anyone but Tess.
Yeah.
Anyone. Please raise your
Literally,
hand.
I've had
Anyone.
multiple teachers be like, please, anyone but Tess. And I would just be like,
All right, Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
get out of your space.
So tell us more about the book, because I don't know about everyone listening, but I am perfect with money. So
Totally.
I don't need the advice.
Sure,
but
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure
yeah.
some
You're a
people.
ghostwriter on that.
Right. Yeah, you ghostwrote it. You wrote
I'm
the
sure
forward, right?
People who we talk about this on the show sometimes, but it's like, it's just so funny getting older and like, I feel like they didn't give us we need like classes in high school
Dude,
about
and I
how
feel
to
like
fucking
every
No,
time
they
we
don't
talk
want
about
you. They don't want you to be
They
good
don't
at
want
money.
you to
Of course, yeah, they want us to keep spending it on bullshit we don't
Yeah.
need. Yeah, of course.
Every time we talk about money on the show, listeners write in like, thank you so much. Like, this is such a common
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
It's like they want to keep you at the status quo. They don't want, because God forbid they give people financial literacy classes, there might be some economic mobility, and the people at the top might
Yeah.
actually have to make room for people from different classes, and Lord knows we can't do that. It's also like, I've heard of, in colleges, right, they'll have like, credit cards will come and like set up booths.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
So-
You're like, I get a frisbee. You're just in
Right.
debt for the rest of your
I
life.
So
got
they
one of
don't
those.
want you to know.
I got a T-shirt that said "The price is wrong, bitch."
Yeah.
You did?
For a credit card.
How
right.
much debt
That's
did you
with
go
a
into
credit
for
card.
that t-shirt?
I don't want to talk.
Wait, you
about
guys
it.
actually.
So they don't want you to know.
Actually, to be even nerdier, I got a free to get a free Star Trek photo at Star Trek The Experience in Vegas. Also signed up for a credit card.
Right.
Star Trek credit card.
I just did it because I wanted to shop at Nordstrom and not actually pay for any of it.
Yeah. So that's how they get you.
Yeah.
And if they taught you not to do those things, how would they get you?
Right.
But the other thing is, like I talk about in the book, is that like, you're 18, you've never had a financial literacy class in your life, and then they're like, here, take out $40,000 in student loans, and you go, okay.
Yeah, the
Sure.
first thing you're supposed to do when you leave.
And you have you're newly an adult, you have no concept of what that means.
No.
You go, I'll figure it out later.
Oh, totally.
You have no idea. And they never, in the book, I talk about how my little sister, when she was 18, she went to a tattoo parlor and she wanted a neck tattoo. And the guy at the parlor, older guy, was like, no, you're 18. I'm not tattooing your neck.
Oh, that's so nice.
And I was like, well, why doesn't anyone do that for student loans? Nobody goes, you know what? You're 18. You shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
They just go, here you go. Here's $40,000 in debt. Honestly, she should just have gotten the neck tattoo.
It'd be
So,
more
like,
responsible.
more
honestly.
responsible.
Yeah. Tattoo my credit rating to my
Exactly.
neck. Is,
Well, it's so,
So-
true because I think I have little brothers who are 13 who are going to have to pay for college, and I'm because of them like looking at back at how I was that age, and honestly, money meant nothing to
Yep.
me because
Zero.
it couldn't have.
Right.
Yeah.
I never had to pay rent. I never had to pay for anything except maybe my trips to Wet Seal. It
Right.
meant nothing to me.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
And they're like, well, and then all the experts that I talked to in the book are like, in high school is when you have a job and you have no expenses.
Exactly.
So that should be when you're like saving money. So the ideal thing would be to save a bunch of money during high school, go to community college, pay nothing, have no student loans, and
Yeah.
then start the world with like your savings from from high school.
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
No.
Because we're all sold this thing of like, oh my God, you have to go. The American dream is you have to go to this amazing college. If you get in somewhere really, really notable, your parents should like take out a second mortgage so you can go because, that'll be the future or whatever. But also in the book, I talked to a bunch of community, because I suspect community college is just as good. And
It's
so
great.
I interviewed a bunch of kids, and they were at community college, and they were all just like, oh yeah, we're having a great time. And like,
Oh, you mean it's just as great like social life
no,
wise?
like so academically, like they
Right.
were all just like, no, we feel like we're really learning a lot. We
It's
feel like
very legitimate. It's
Yeah.
But you know
Yeah.
what? Now, as we're
nobody
talking
was
about
upset about it.
I think that is what is missing from the community colleges. At least for me personally, I wanted to live in a dorm, and I
Yeah.
wanted like the
Right,
Saved by the Bell, the college years experience.
Sure.
So like, if there was a way to make community college as socially fun,
Well, they have clubs and stuff, and they
Yeah.
all like I talked to the people I went to talk to were in like a history club or something. It was like something like that. But they were all like hanging out. I mean, I think like there was just a thing of that like even the school I went to, it was Palm Beach Community College. But right when I got there, a few years before that, they had changed their name to Palm Beach State College just to make it more palatable for people applying.
Nice.
Just to make it like,
Wow,
oh,
yeah.
we're
So you're
like, yeah, I'm
state
going to
college,
state.
right?
We're
Rather
state
than saying
school.
community college. Even like BCC, which I'm from South Florida, so Broward Community College was like the thing, like BCC. That's where you went, and now they just go by Broward College. They dropped
so-
community from the name.
That is so interesting. Man.
And that's just because for optics, basically.
Yeah.
And like the thing is, like you're paying to be able to wear the Harvard sweatshirt for the rest of your life.
which
you're
you can
paying,
still wear if you transfer.
of course.
But yeah, by the way, we bought a Juilliard sweatshirt for our friend Eric.
Sure.
So much cheaper than Juilliard.
You're paying for the optics of it. But I went to an expensive liberal arts school on a scholarship, but nobody's ever asked to see my Emerson degree.
No.
Never.
No.
You can, for most jobs, I believe, you could probably just make up where you went on your resume.
Right.
Because no one's really
I
checking.
actually couldn't. I don't put my college on my resume anymore because I've got
Yeah.
enough work experience that I'm just like,
Right.
you don't need to. And
Doesn't
I was
matter.
actually kind of a little shook a couple years ago. I was at a job interview and they were like, "Where did you go to college?" And the
Oh.
question shook me. I was like, "You care?"
Why?
That
why
like
does
blows
that
my mind,
matter?
especially in LA, where you're like,
Yeah, who cares?
gives a
Yeah.
fuck? If you have experience and you're good, why would you care?
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
other thing is I talked to a lot of high school kids who were like, I want to be a photographer. I know I want to be a photographer. So if I get a job at like a wedding photography studio, I don't have to go to college because I'll get known. I'll get more gigs, whatever. I'll make my Instagram really nice.
For sure.
And
if
I was
anything,
like,
just get like a community college, like business associates
exactly,
to understand how a
for
business
sure.
works. Yeah.
But I think nobody, at least when I was 18, we weren't thinking about it in a practical sense. We, like you said, we wanted the dorm experience. We wanted the
Yeah.
experience of going away and having like a movie college time or whatever.
And it was pushed as like a rite of passage.
Rite of passage,
like,
yeah.
But now you go for 4 years.
You know what it
for-
reminds me of a lot, actually, as having just gone through it, is a wedding.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
Rite
It's a
of
lot. Like, it's
passage,
a right. It's
spend the
like you're only
money.
gonna get this once in your life. Spend the money.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Well, and
Yeah.
it's funny too because I do kind of, as much as we're like, if they give me a class in high school about it, I'm like, yeah, but that reminds me of like, I still would have fucked all the assholes I fucked in my 20s.
Right,
Like, no one
definitely.
could have told me
I
differently.
would have ditched that class or shown up high or fallen
Yes.
asleep. Like,
Yes. So
I was
you
not going
can't-
to learn that lesson then.
No, I
probably.
agree. I say in the book, it's like there's a reason Romeo and Juliet were teenagers. It's like you can't tell you nothing.
Yeah.
But also, it's similar to like Gen X. So I'm millennial. Gen X, their thing
Yeah.
was like, you have to buy a house. That's the rite
Yeah.
of passage. That's the thing, buying a house. But then they all got screwed like in the housing crisis. So
Yeah.
it's like, and now there's woman that I interviewed, Kelly Peeler. She was talking about how she thinks student loans are the next big financial crisis, that nobody's going to be able to pay them off. And it's just going to become this like crash in the next few years, which is fascinating.
Oh yeah, I have multiple friends that are just like, just gonna keep throwing that bill away.
Right.
'Cause what do you do?
Right.
Like, okay, even if I pay the minimum, it's at the end of the year I still owe more than I did at the
what
beginning.
are you gonna take away my degree?
Yeah.
Right.
I already did it.
Yeah, please. And guess what? Can't afford a house, so you can't.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
nothing of worth for you to take.
Right. Oh, you're
Yeah.
going to hurt my credit score? Okay.
Who cares?
Well, there's
Whatever.
also the thing of like, there are consequences to defaulting, but there's a guy I write about in the book who's a culture critic and author named Lee Siegel who wrote this op-ed for the New York Times that people like lost their minds over, where it was like, he was like, I'm defaulting on my student loans. I don't care. I'll never pay them back. I don't give a shit. He was like,
Fuck yeah.
He was like, people were furious, but he he was like, I grew up poor and I am being punished for the audacity to want better for myself. And this is a class thing. And this is keeping people like me out of school. And I don't buy it. And it's unethical. And go fuck yourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa. Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Because I think a lot of people feel that way. They're just like, I'll die with it. Whatever. Who cares?
Oh yeah.
I mean, there are consequences, but part of me is like, hell yeah, throw a Molotov cocktail at that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Your interest in the subject because of student loan debt, or like what got you interested in like writing about this and researching it?
No, I grew up alcoholic addict home, and so it was I never understood money because no one talked about it, and it was also my parents were very into experiences, but it was like a feast or famine type thing, which I like. One day they'd be like, we have all this money, let's do this, let's do that, and then the next day they'd be like, we have no money, everyone panic. And so I was like, which is it?
Yeah.
And I could never get a read. Like I would be like, are we poor, are we okay, what is the truth? And they would just like never really have an answer. And my mom was the breadwinner, and there was like a lot of stuff that came out later of like my mom would be like, where'd the money go? My dad would be like, I don't know. And then it was like to gambling. And so like I never understood. And also I reveal in the book, I mean, they took out a $20,000 loan for my bat mitzvah, which is crazy.
Shit. Wow.
Right. Like they are not good.
Yeah.
And what part of the country are you from?
Florida, South Florida.
Okay.
Florida, yeah.
And was it like a big deal where did everyone have a big bat mitzvah?
Everyone had a huge bat mitzvah. It was like my super sweet 16, but I went to, similar to college, I went to a Jewish day school for which I had like a 70% scholarship. So there was no, like, I was competing with kids who had mansions.
So it must have been like I was going to say, was it like a whole competition between the parents and stuff?
Yes, huge competition between the parents.
Damn.
And my mom is like, I don't know, I feel like I blacked out and cared about that for like a couple years and then was like, why did I care about that? And so, so it was this huge thing. And so then I kind of never learned about money. And then I like went to college and I had a job all of college and I have no idea what happened to that money. Like I don't think I had that many expenses. I couldn't tell you where it went. And so I just like kind of would cry about money all the time, but never felt like I could talk to anyone. I felt like everyone in my life must have figured this out. It took me until I was like 25 when I moved to LA is when I realized people's parents gave them money. I would be like, wow,
that is so true. Like it's such a stigma to talk about it that I think it's almost like the wage thing where it's like if we talked about it more, everyone would be healthier about it, and you would compare yourself to people.
I thought, oh, the reason these people have achieved these things is because they are more talented than me. They are better people than me.
They work harder.
Than I do. I should work more and sleep less, whatever it was. Then it would like, when I was 25 and I moved out here, all of a sudden I realized people's parents were giving them money. And I like started, it was like maniacal research where I would be like, and then I'd be like, oh my God, this person's mom is like an exec at CBS, or like this person's dad is like a bank, a huge billionaire banker or whatever. And it kind of, not to say that like the people that succeed are getting money from their families, although a lot are. And I would start to realize like, oh, the reason this person is so quote unquote ahead of me is because they were like born ahead of me. Mm-hmm. But I like would beat myself up and get so depressed and like think that it was some failure in myself because I just no one ever talked about money or where they were getting money. And so then I was working at this job, and this guy sitting next to me had his banking open, and I saw a number and I said, oh, I have that too. And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I have that credit card debt as well. And he was like, that's my savings account. And I was
like,
we all just did like cartoon wolf. Like,
yeah.
Who has a savings?
Wow. Just like the poetry of that moment is staggering.
Yeah. And my best friend, who I do my YouTube channel with, Allison, she was sitting behind me and she whipped around and went, what? Because I hadn't even said anything to her about it. And she was like, wait, what? And I was like, you guys what? I don't know. I have to go. Like, I was I have to leave. And then the two of them, I ended up dating that guy for a while. So he like became part of our lives. And he and her were both kind of like, yo, like, is this true? Like, what's going on with you? And I was like sobbing hysterically, like really embarrassed, really upset. And they were both like, both of them came from very wealthy families, which is always like a sort of a point of contention with me and Allison. But so they were both like this, because they didn't know anything. They had never experienced credit card debt. They'd never experienced neither of them had student loans.
And that
so they were both like,
goes with
right.
it. Yeah.
So they were both like, wait, what? And I remember the guy saying, Allison's a little bit less of a dick than this, or she knows more. But he was like, well, if I didn't have any money like you, all I would do is try to think about how to get money. And I was like,
yeah, that's kind of what I fucking do.
I was like, one, it's what I do, but also at a certain point, that's stressful. It makes you sick, and you just go, I just want to I just want a pizza. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah, and like, how dare you assume you would know how you feel if you're like in that position, because you'll never know that.
But at a certain point, it's like, it was like. It was like, am I not going to live my life? Like, am I going to live 24 hours a day trying to get money when, like, eventually you get so used to not having money that you go, what is it? I'm going to put pizza on my credit card? Fine.
Oh, yeah. It becomes not real. At some point, you're like, well, it's just added to the pile. Who gives a shit?
Right.
Yeah. I'd like to feel okay tonight.
Yeah.
And it feels very binary almost. Like, you shift into, like, I'm a person in debt, so actually nothing fucking matters. I'll take the pizza and I'll take that new sweater, too.
Exactly. I'm sad about my debt.
Something has to
I
make
will
me
buy
feel
this
good.
sweater
Yes.
now.
Yeah.
But by the way, as if I hate when people like come down on low income people for, oh, why do you have an expensive cell phone? Why do you have those shoes?
Yeah.
When all rich people do to fill their sadness is buy shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, congratulations on being this perfect Buddhist who never relies on materialism to feel better.
Well, and go through your closet and take a spin.
Well, it's also like this idea, and I found that in my research, like this idea that like poor people, you have to be actively working to get out of low income status, otherwise go fuck yourself. Like, it's very like, oh, I'm allowed to do this and spend money and all that, but like, so my humanity is tied to like buying the sweater, buying the sneakers, but you're not allowed to, and if you do, like, then I lose all sympathy for you as a human.
Yeah.
A lot of homeless people have iPhones, and the reason they have iPhones is because they don't have access to computers, so they buy an iPhone with whatever money they can get together so they can apply to jobs.
Yeah, totally.
That's a statistic that I read, that like a lot of them have iPhones because they need to be able to email to figure out job situations. It's almost, to them at the point of homelessness, is more important to have a phone than it is to like figure out a housing situation, because you're like looking for jobs all day and,
it's your
and
fucking
trying
computer. I mean, the
It's your
number of
computer.
things you do on your phone. Like, you think about it. I mean, that's you need it in the modern world to get to any
So
new
they
level.
almost need it more to get to the next step of having a home than to jump to home, because how are you going to get job interviews? How are you going to and even it's like, okay, you could go to like a computer lab or whatever to do it at FedEx, but that is, again, they're running your credit card while they're doing that. You might not have access to a credit card. Like, it's just all kinds of stuff where you
Then it's like, what, you're going to wait till the next time you go to a FedEx to get on the email to respond?
And it was interesting because when I was a kid, I was driving. I always think about this. I was driving with my dad through our neighborhood, which was like kind of shitty, and this one house that was like a shitty house had a bright red Porsche in the front of it. And I was like, why does this person have if they can afford this Porsche, why don't they move somewhere else? And my dad was like, they value cars, and they love cars, and they don't care where they live. And I was like, oh, people have different priorities. And that's like okay to respect people's different priorities.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you really love having that car and that makes you feel cool, and you don't really care about where you live, have at it. And so, but it had never occurred to me. I was like, wouldn't you want to get a nicer house? And my dad was like, maybe you would. I was like 6. He was like, maybe you would want a nicer house, but this person doesn't care.
And maybe like they have family in the neighborhood, and like they, maybe they inherited that house and it has, emotional meaning to you. I didn't know. Yeah.
Or they just,
they just get to get in that Porsche and ride off, baby.
Yeah, they don't care. That's what they like. That's what makes them happy.
Yeah.
So it was. So I really started realizing that nobody was talking about money, and then I wrote this article called "Get Rich or Die Vlogging," which went sort of viral.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
Which was about YouTubers or internet famous people who have day jobs. Because I was driving Postmates, and I figured my fans, quote unquote, thought that I was rich. and I was like, this is crazy that you guys think I'm a millionaire. I have to say something.
Yeah.
Even though it was embarrassing. So I was like, I drive.
Did you deliberate before saying, like, how long were you not talking about driving Postmates before you decided to, like, write the blog post?
Months, maybe 6 or 9 months, because I didn't want people to know, because I thought every day I was like, well, tomorrow I'll get a big check and I can stop driving. So so it doesn't, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But then it just kept going. And then I would get recognized like while I was doing it and stuff, which was a nightmare. And so then I wrote this article and I interviewed friends of mine who were like internet famous, but who worked as museum tour guides or Starbucks, which is hard because those are also front facing positions where like fans will recognize you. And like one girl who worked at Starbucks, she got fired because fans kept coming in because they memorized her schedule, and the boss was like, they're not buying anything, like you gotta whatever. So shit like that. Yeah. So a friend of mine too, one of the craziest parts of that article is my friend Brittany Ashley was a waitress, and she was working at BuzzFeed, and BuzzFeed's a piece of shit, and they wouldn't hire her full time, so they would only keep her on part time. So she was in, 12 videos a week or whatever, but she was only there part time, only getting paid part time salary. So she was in these like videos that got millions of views, but she didn't have enough money, so she kept her restaurant job. So then she would get recognized at the restaurant by these kids, and they'd be like, I don't understand. You're in this video that has like 9 million views. How are you still working at this restaurant? And then BuzzFeed hosted their Golden Globes party at that restaurant, and she worked the BuzzFeed Golden Globes party and served all of us, even though we were coworkers.
Oh,
holy shit!
Right.
We have to. This is fat. We have to take a quick break, but we'll be right back talking more about the book. Be right back. Have y'all heard about the revolution in online furniture shopping and Joybird, the company behind it all?
I have. Joybird believes that you should never settle when it comes to your home furnishings, and that you should always have the freedom to be boldly original.
From idea to reality, they empower you to create the space and furniture that brings you joy. Bird.
It's pretty cool. You can get one-of-a-kind furniture made to your unique taste, which is really awesome because, like, a lot of times you'll see a couch that you really want, but it's not quite the right color or whatever. You kind of had this idea of what you're looking for, but you can't find exactly that thing. That's what's so cool about Joybird. You can, like, really mix and match hundreds of styles and options to find your exact right fit.
They've got everything from rich, buttery leather to plush velvets to every color imaginable, and they even have a wide range of kid and pet-friendly upholstery options, too.
Yeah. So get your free personal design consultants to help you nail down your perfect design.
They also have a 365-day home trial, so you can skip the furniture store and bring the showroom home. So that's an entire year, unless it's a leap year.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But get that thing for 364 days, send it on back.
Absolutely. This is, keep it. So you're...
You can see how Joybird is revolutionizing online furniture shopping. Create the furniture that brings you joy today at joybird.com/lady. Go to joybird.com/lady and receive an exclusive offer for 25% off your first order by using the code LADY.
Lady to Lady is supported in part by Away, makers of first-class luggage at Coach price. You guys, I got one of these Away suitcases. I'm looking at it right now. I'm loving it
beautiful.
every day. Isn't it gorgeous?
It's gorgeous.
Really
we travel a lot, and like it's key to have something that's compact, that has everything you have in one place, it has a charger.
That
on
to me
it.
is so key because I do not have my shit together. I never show up to LAX with a full charge.
You guys should see Tess traveling. It's like a miracle.
Isn't it
Truly. Yeah.
But you know you haven't worked together. It's like at least you know you got that charge. Because that's the thing you need.
That's
at the very least.
Yeah, exactly.
And
who needs pants when you can charge your phone?
Not me, apparently.
They have a compression system, which is really amazing. So it's helpful for overpackers when you just don't really know what you want, but you want to put it all in there.
And a TSA-approved combination lock that's built right into the top of the bag to prevent theft.
And this is huge. I asked Barbara once, I said, I've always been afraid to ask adults this, but what do we do with our dirty laundry?
Well, we say it on a podcast first.
Yeah.
And once we've aired it there.
Then you can air it on your travels. These suitcases come with a removable, washable laundry bag, so you can keep your dirty clothes separate from the clean.
That's genius.
That's like one of those game changer moments that when you learn that traveling, you're like, oh,
I
this
didn't
is
know.
how my clean clothes don't smell like butt.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Cool.
So get rid of those butt clothes, everybody. Get an Away bag right now.
Absolutely.
There's free shipping on any Away order within the lower 48 states.
And they have a lifetime warranty. So if anything breaks, they'll fix it and replace it for you for life.
You need the suitcase. So for $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/lady and use code LADY at checkout. That's awaytravel.com/lady and use code LADY for $20 off a suitcase.
Hey, we're back on Lady to Lady. I'm Brandy.
I'm Babs.
Tess?
And we're here with Gaby Dunn talking about Bad with Money, her book about getting out of your financial shit. So
Thank you. Hello.
I totally get. I drive for Lyft still every once in a while, and I haven't had any fans, but I've definitely picked up like comedian friends and stuff,
Right.
Where and a couple of famous comics who have been very weird about it, and I'm like, I'm paying my bills because I'm paying my bills. I don't. How dare you make this seem like a lesser thing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry that I haven't gotten the opportunities that you have. That's the world we live in. Kind of fuck you.
I still get nervous about not having cash in hand, which I think comes from childhood. So I'll eBay stuff. I'll just go through and start taking. I'm very interested in this bookstore that buys books, so I might check that out next week. And I'm like, everything's fine, but I'm well, what if I just sold all these books in a day, very impulsively?
Well, I think that is that is if you grow up that way and you need to be scrounging in certain ways to continually, it's hard to turn that part of yourself off because you're like, but I always have to have something spinning over here to know that I will be okay.
Well, and I think that sort of speaks to the reason that Brittany was waitressing, which is really the fucking issue is fuck BuzzFeed and fuck all these internet companies.
Oh,
because
that's the thing.
Bottom line, they are monetizing that content, and people should be aware that the artists that you're seeing and the people that you are fans of are not making that money.
Absolutely.
That is the biggest open secret. Everyone's fucking everyone over.
Well, one of the craziest, my contract with BuzzFeed was insane, and I wrote about this too because I signed it because I was 26 and I was like, whatever. And they own my image in perpetuity or whatever it's called.
Fuck.
So they could they use, sometimes I'm on their Snapchat or they use old videos of me, and fans will be like, you were just on this, and I was like, no, that's from 2015. They just reuse they can make GIFs out of my face and use them. They own I have an official Gaby Dunn Facebook page which has I don't know, 40,000 people following it.
BuzzFeed owns that?
They own it, and they've never given it back to me.
fuck.
So I don't even have Facebook now. I'm just go with God. And right now, they could cut together all of my videos from 2015. I worked there 8 months.
Yeah.
They could cut together all the videos, sell a best of Gaby Dunn to Netflix, and I wouldn't see a dime.
Wow.
So it puts you in this position where whether it's a situation like that or whether you're a freelance writer or whatever you're doing, your income is not coming at a steady pace. Your car insurance bill is due on the 28th of every month, but when you're getting paid for all these 18 gigs that you're doing is anyone's fucking guess. So it creates the situation of just constantly looking for that other plate.
Nobody's
Nobody's
in a rush to pay you ever.
No.
Because any show business is freelance.
Yeah. Well, they're all in a rush to get paid.
Yeah, nobody's in a rush to pay you, and no one's in a rush to value your time as a creative person.
No.
I remember this one fucking some shitty, guy who wanted to make the new HQ or whatever, some, new app. They all do. I go meet him for lunch. We have a great conversation, whatever. He starts writing to me about doing the audition. And I'm like, cool. And then I started being like, well, what's how much is this going to pay? And he immediately was like, we're going to go in another direction.
Good.
Because I asked how much it would pay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
sorry, I want to know your budget if you want me involved in this, jerk.
And then he offered, and then he was like, actually, do you want to bring some friends in for a test run? We'll pay you. He said a certain amount.
Yeah.
And then I was like, cool. And then I was like, oh, that means you're paying each of us 100 or something. And he was like, no, it's going to be this. I'm like, well, originally.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not asking my friends who are professionals to take time out of their fucking day to come here to get nothing.
Right.
No.
And you're also not getting paid as a booker. So
Yeah.
No.
Exactly.
there's a story I tell in the book about a company called Skip the Dishes, which I think is a food ordering app. But there was this story that went viral where this person went in to interview, or was emailing to go in for an interview in I don't know, one of their departments. And they said, hey, if I come in to interview, I have to get a babysitter and take the bus and everything. So I just want to make sure that the salary is worth it. what is the salary for this job?
Yeah.
Or like around, just so that, because if I leave, my first,
It costs me money to do
it
this.
cost me money to come to the interview. She got an interview and then she was like, hey, sorry to ask, but like it cost me money to come to this interview. So I'm just curious, like, what is the salary so I can decide if I actually want to come to the interview. And then they wrote back and were like, well, because you care more about money than this like company and like our family of company, then like you don't get the job.
That's the most insidious shit.
And it is, because the company is not your family.
No.
But the thing is that then it was because people are pawns. There was like split in the comments of like some people being like, oh, rookie mistake. Everyone knows when you go, like, you have to be a good little thing when you go, you go in for a job interview, and like this, they should have taught her better about like how to do a good job interview and blah, blah, blah. Like it was this thing of like, it became this symbol of like millennials are entitled and like, oh, you're just like, you don't know how to do a good job interview. And like the best thing to do is this and blah, blah, blah. And then also people being like, hey, that's fucked up, like how I took it, where I was like, whoa, this is like, you just tell her the salary. What the hell?
I mean, also, I feel like it should be illegal to like hold the salary.
Right.
If you're going in for a fucking interview,
you're going to tell me
it's
eventually.
It's a big difference if it's like, $13 an hour versus $25 an hour or whatever.
Right. So, but a lot of times, I mean, I remember when I was doing J jobs, you would go in and then they would say, well, what do you think your salary should be?
Oh God,
I
I hate that.
shit.
I like setting my salary.
Oh, I don't.
Do you just go?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes you just.
I think like what I would think, and then I think higher.
Yeah, you just go, I don't know, a crazy amount, and then see what they come back with.
Especially if it's a job I don't want. I really like coming up with salaries for that. Because
I hate it. Also because I just have worked so many random jobs that a lot of times
it's
like
hard to know.
Yeah, I'm like, I haven't done this before. I don't know how fucking much this is.
Jackie Cation has a really great rule. She never says no, but she will just give a number that will make that person say no.
Yes, I love that.
Totally.
I love that.
Where she's like, I really don't want to do this. If you paid me $20,000 to do it, then I would do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I also think, but I would get nervous because I would think, oh, well, if I ask for too high of a number, they're going to take the job offer back.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that they would have.
They wouldn't have, and I think that is a thought that unfortunately women have been more trained than men to think going into a professional situation. This, I mean, like I was talking to my mom recently. My mom's a teacher, not in LA Unified, but in a surrounding district, and my heart was just breaking talking to her about the way she's being treated at her work and the basic things that are not been given to her and the basic working conditions that she's not been given. And she's an elementary school teacher. Most of her coworkers are women. And I'm sitting here like, you guys have the bargaining power. The city will shut down if you guys stop teaching.
Right.
And you're worried that if you ask for X, Y, and Z, they're going to take it out of your salary or fire you? No. Meanwhile, this Fire Fest fuck is out here building a festival. You know what I mean? Like this cocky, he has nothing where there's like all these women in the professional setting that I think just don't have like the confidence.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately.
To ask for what they deserve.
And it's bananas because like I've worked a lot of jobs where like just when we would share salaries, which companies also don't want you to do, but salary transparency is huge right now. And you can look on Glassdoor actually to see salaries. So you should do that. Yeah, Glassdoor is a website where you can see different salaries. And there's also a website called Who Pays Interns and Who Pays Writers, two different websites.
Cool.
And you can
They're
see
just both blank.
Yeah, exactly.
Like URL does not connect.
Right. But you can see like if you submit freelance writing to different places, you can see before you waste your time what they actually pay. But there have been multiple times where we've talked about our salaries and then the men's salaries are way higher.
Yeah.
And every time I'm going, how is that possible? And they go, well, that's what I asked for.
Yeah. Oh. The last time I did a freelance, I talked about it here, but last time I did a freelance writing gig, they asked me to set the price, and I did, like weekly or whatever, daily. And then I went in there, and I was me and another guy, and I was like, "How much should you say?" And his was almost twice as much as I had said.
Yeah.
And I was like, "All right, well, good to fucking know. If they ever ask me again, that's what I'm asking for."
People can help each other. Like I did a thing. This girl, I was speaking at a conference, and this girl was speaking at the conference too, and we kind of knew each other from Twitter, and she knew that I would speak because it had been announced lineup, and she messaged me and said, "What are you getting paid to speak there?" And I told her, and she was like, "Okay, I'm getting less than that." And I said, "Oh, go to them right now. Tell them I told you what I use my name. Tell them I told you what I'm making.
Get you bumped.
And then say, well, how come I'm not making as much as Gaby or whatever?" And then I was like, and it was something where I was like, if they pull me from the lineup, fucking fine. And then they bumped her salary. So or they bumped her fee.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't hurt. Like I felt like, sometimes, I mean, maybe me a few years ago, I would have been like, well, I can't tell her what I can't say anything, but like it only helps everybody.
Yeah.
If people are transparent.
Well, and I also think that anyone who would truly not give you a job because you ask for a certain amount, that was not the right fit for you, because they don't respect you as a person. Because someone that respects you will come back with a counter offer that's like, we can't do that. Here's that.
Yeah.
If they dismiss you, guess what? It's like a partner that's not right for
I know.
you.
You were just a cog for them anyway.
Yeah.
And they were going to just use you up as much as possible before they just
Most
got...
places will just counter. Don't be afraid to ask for more. If it's too much, they'll let you know and they'll come back with a counter that's a little bit lower.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was at my last gig that I was at for 7 years, and I waited so long to ask for a raise, years longer than I should have. And I went in and I was like, okay, I've been here for 5 years. And
It's hard.
And immediately was like, oh yeah.
Right.
See?
But the thing that's crazy is why wouldn't they just
They should
do it.
Yeah, they should have done it.
They're
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, of course I would. I mean, from their perspective, they're trying to be as cheap as possible.
Right. And
so,
the people but then the people at the top are millionaires.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's bananas is when I worked at BuzzFeed, they would be like, oh, my salary was I think $50K a year. And they would go, and I was in so many videos. And then they would go, okay, and I would think that's a pretty good salary for a media job in LA. Cool. But then if you think about it, the people at I'm getting a pretty okay salary, but the people at the top who you never see on camera are literally millionaires.
Oh,
Exactly.
millionaires.
So that's bananas.
Totally. And I think it's similar to teachers where it's ain't nothing happening without people in
Right.
front of the camera.
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
it is. Same writers, actors, the creatives are the ones that nobody can do what we
Right.
do. Nobody.
Yeah, but
And-
we're also scared of losing the opportunities.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the real insidious part with a lot of these media companies is that the talent they have in front of the camera are often minorities. So it's people of color, it's women, it's queer, it's all of the above.
Yep.
And so all the people in front of the camera are minorities who they know won't ask for more because they're terrified. And then they can stay millionaires.
Yeah.
And they're all white dudes.
And they can look good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then everyone goes, what a woke company.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
And
maddening.
it's like, yeah.
The guy at the top of Mr. BuzzFeed is worth $200 million.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly. White dude at
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, so I mean, the thing I think is the problem is that then you're worried about being labeled bossy, or especially if you're a black woman, then you go in and ask for a raise, and they're like, oh well,
And they do
always
use it against you
Yes,
too.
right.
Yeah.
It's not an
So
unfounded
shitty.
fear at all.
Yeah.
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 It's or they there's so many stereotypes that you're working against of well, she's difficult now.
Yeah.
That she asked for this or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's so hard because it's you need diversity at that upper level.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the trickle down that needs to actually happen
One
in
of the
society.
cool things is with internships. With everyone I talk to about unpaid internships, first of all, those should be illegal. But
Yeah.
everyone that I talked to was talking about paid internships and how if you the people who can afford to do an unpaid internship are largely upper middle class white kids. The people that, if you do a paid internship, this woman from a company called ConResnick, who is on Glassdoor as one of the best paying internships, number 3 best paying internships. So I called their human resources department, interviewed them for the book, and they were like, well, the reason that we pay so well is because we're able to get more diverse interns. Then we get people from different, economic backgrounds. Yep. We get people of different races, different genders who can afford to do our internship. And then we find if we hire from that pool of interns, we get a more diverse workforce. And then because we're working, it's an accounting firm, I think. So they're like, because we have a more diverse workforce, we're actually able to have different clients. They were like, now we have clients in China. We have clients in, we're able to actually use these, the diverse workforce that we only could have funneled up through the intern program versus another company that doesn't pay interns would just be funneling up white people who then are at the top again.
Yeah. Yeah, all my clients
so
are all
smart.
the white boys at the frat that I went to at
Right.
my Ivy League school. And
Right.
it's okay, well,
Right.
cool.
And then they're like, and then we get, one example, I didn't make it in the book, but she was talking about how they, then they have clients in China and they have an intern who they promoted to a full-time staff who can fucking speak Chinese.
Yeah.
And so that is like a thing that they, huge for
Which
them.
is also funny because it's still like, and then it's like, and then we make more money.
Yeah, well, yes.
Then we still get to use you to make more money.
Sure, but even baseline, it's like that thing of with films, right? Where it's like, look, I get you don't care about diversity, but Girls Trip made so much money.
Yeah, you can.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
You
making
cannot
money.
deny.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say you don't give a shit about other people. Base level, the diversity will make you more money.
Well, yeah, it's just
very
reframing it as
least.
like, this isn't just like a burden to you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we fulfilled this requirement.
Right.
It's like, do you like money? Because guess what? Women and people of color and gay
Right.
people like to
a
spend
lot of
money.
it.
Yeah, like I
Yeah.
know you're a capitalist asshole.
Yeah.
So let me appeal to your capitalist asshole,
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And like,
it's-
honestly, I think it's okay for an accounting firm to want to make money.
Sure.
I think that
Yes.
premise is
Yeah.
fine. It's just like there's a way to do it. Yeah, it's beneficial to everyone.
Right. And she was saying it's like, oh, it makes their company better and stuff. So that's like that part's in the book where I was like, yeah, because there's people that I remember working. There's a chapter in the book where I'm talking about how I went into debt doing an unpaid internship at Viacom, which could definitely afford to pay.
Oh, for sure.
And now Viacom pays because there was like
Yeah.
a class action lawsuit.
Viacom was like, when I was at MTV, that was the big thing there was permalance, which I'm sure they did
Yep.
at BuzzFeed. Permalance. Is there anything more illegal sounding than permalance?
Permalance. They don't give you benefits.
No.
They don't give you benefits, but they pay you something.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
full time, but you're
Right.
not full time.
Right.
Yeah. It's a really good catch-22.
We give you money so you can buy your own health insurance.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh my God.
That's what we do. So
I
you
will
can pick
say
it.
though, I think being in a creative field does have sort of a unique challenge to it in that, like, if you want to work in a creative field, you do need to have a body of work. And I think that's the thing that people, when they're first starting out, need to understand is like, that's why they get taken advantage of. But like, you do it. Don't do it for someone else. Do it for yourself. Or
Sure.
you need to have samples of your work in order to get work.
Right.
Right. It is kind of like, it's like open mics. It's like it's going to be shitty. You're not going to get paid, but you do have to sit in the shit for a little while to build yourself up.
Yes.
But then obviously once you put in that time and that
Yeah.
work, you need to like know when to ask to get paid.
Totally.
Well, and it's interesting because like Barbara asked a question on Facebook recently about like the comedy bubble and everything.
Yes.
And like in other countries, like they treat artists as like, oh, you are making the quality of life better in our country as a whole. So like you get like stipends from the government.
Yes.
For basically
So-
you improve the quality of life.
So this is a thing
your job.
that people are getting more and more vocal about, which is universal basic income.
UBI,
which I'm
baby.
pretty fascinated by,
Yeah.
which would be that everyone, depending on their income level, gets like a stipend every month.
Yeah.
Just for like Social Security or whatever, just for existing, and there's not, and it would help a lot of people like get out of poverty, and then the other thing, this is what made me think of it, is that the idea is that it would allow artists to have more freedom to do their art.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it would make America a better place because there would be more art, because the person who is like an incredible singer or an incredible painter would actually be able to do that, and then it would like enrich everyone's lives because we would get to see this amazing art that probably this person would have died without making, basically.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And so that's one of the facets of it is allowing not just like economic mobility, but also like allowing artists the freedom to like make art, because art is so undervalued. Like the whole thing of like, well, no one's gonna pay you for your painting, or even like teachers, like no one's gonna no one cares if we don't pay teachers anything, and it's like, but I don't understand.
What, you get teachers? I'm like a teacher's kid and a teacher's
Right.
grandkid and a former teacher. Like I'm so because like
It's
we get the biggest
crazy.
bang for our buck. But it's so obvious. Like put it into education, and
Right.
like within one generation,
Yeah.
you have a whole better generation of people.
Yes.
Why is that the thing we keep shitting on and taking money away from? Like,
and
Because
they
they want
don't
to keep people stupid too.
Yeah, they wanna
Yeah,
keep you
and they
dumb.
don't pay the teachers, so the teachers are frazzled. They're not doing their best work. They don't have the
Yes.
materials. It's like,
Yeah.
it's all tied together. But it's all I start to get very conspiracy theory, because I think it is all meant to keep the class system where it's
Oh,
at.
it absolutely is.
I think it's
Yeah.
class system, and again, I think it's sexism too, because teaching and the idea of nurturing is a feminine ideal.
right?
Well, it's like nurses
I think
don't
it's
make money
very
either.
Right.
it's not nurse. I mean, actually,
Caretaker.
nurses can make pretty good buck.
Well, yeah, but compared to
doctors.
To doctors.
doctors
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's very like gender related that we're so obsessed with the military and so quick to shit on teaching and social services.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying when people go for UBI, when people are like, well, where would the money come from? I'm like, I don't know. Our military budget is in the trillions.
Yeah.
Like one plane. Right. Or
tax billionaires.
decriminalize marijuana and then tax it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. UBI.
Yeah.
But like, if we my question with UBI is what like then like who does like work the shitty jobs if that I just don't know how that part works.
They probably still can.
would.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
But nobody would want to.
Well, if you want to make more money than your base.
People are always going to want to make more money.
Yeah.
And or you have like a second kid and you're like, shit, or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
people are always.
We're also automating so much too that it's like
that's
at a
another
certain
big
point.
problem.
I mean, not every you can't automate it.
A lot of
lot
shitty
of
jobs
stuff.
will be able to.
Did you just see Amazon? Who is my nemesis that they don't know exists, but
the fucking wastebasket they're calling a deliverer.
So instead of paying
I heard
truck
it's a little
drivers,
robot
it's a little robot
that
that'll
sounds
deliver your
kinda cool.
packages.
But not if it's
It's so
But
stupid
the idea,
looking.
someone tweeted and was like, "Why pay truck drivers $9 an hour when you can fire all of them and use this robot?" Like, so what are those truck drivers going to do?
Yeah.
You know?
And here's the thing: we want the truck drivers at the truck stops.
No, now they work at Starbucks.
By the way, we still want to get that one lady.
if you are a lady,
Pearl. No, there was like we read
name was
about her in
Pearl.
it was like a truck stop, like truck driver.
I feel like she might
newspaper.
listen to us. If you
Who's
are
a truck driver
female truck driver,
Yeah.
who
Yes.
has
We'd
a
love to have
route,
you on.
we read about you in a paper.
Yes.
And you wear pearls in your truck, and we think it's fabulous.
Yeah.
We would love to have you on.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have,
Absolutely.
we have to take a break, but yes, please email us ladytoladycomedy@gmail.com if that is you.
Be right back.
Be back.
It's going to be someone's mom.
Hey, if you listen to podcasts at all, you've heard about Harry's.
What's Harry's, Barbara?
Harry's is a brand that has reinvented shaving for men, but you know what? They saw an opportunity to create better hair removal solutions for us gals over here.
Love it.
Wow, it's almost like the Flamingo team interviewed thousands of women about their body care routines and designed products for every step of your hair removal routines.
That's what they did.
Whoa.
They galvanized our routines. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
That's the right use
Did
of
you guys
that
know
word.
that the average woman spends over $10,000 in 2 months of her life removing hair? I believe it.
boy.
If
That
I'm
sounds
not
about right. If we
singing
added
in
it
the
all
shower,
up.
I'm shaving in the shower. Let me tell you.
I'm probably closer to a month and a half of my life.
I will say, one of the most embarrassing. My junior high boyfriend broke up with me because I hadn't shaved my pits and I didn't know how. And I wish that I had a flamingo razor back then because I was too scared to use.
I wish you did too. No, we just got these razors. I'm not kidding. They are amazing. I am a hair removal enthusiast. I like to be smooth. Even in the winter, I am hairless. And these things, it's getting my nooks and crannies. Everything is smooth and clean. It's so easy to shave. I'm not nicking myself. It's getting a really nice, close, awesome shave.
Yeah, they have a great shave gel too, which really does
That's
make
really
a big
great.
difference. It has aloe vera. Because come on, you gotta have aloe vera in your
Oh my
shave.
God, I
gel.
always say.
And the body lotion that comes with this kit, it hydrates and exfoliates for smoother skin over time. Plus, it comes with that little hook for your razor in the shower. Because I never know where to put my razor in the shower.
tough.
It's just if it's in the water, then it gets rusty. So you just gotta keep it. Yeah.
And it has a reusable travel pouch.
And they're like
as well.
cute. It's like a nice design.
Yeah.
I'm proud to display it in your
I got a hot orange one. So if you want to have matching razors with me, like a fucking weirdo, get the
Hot orange flamingo. Flamingo wants you to enjoy shaving in 2019, so our listeners can get the Flamingo shave set at $22 value today for just $16 plus free shipping. Get a set with all your shave essentials from Flamingo, the brand that Vogue, Glamour, Well Good, and Fast Company are all talking about. That is a $22 value for just $16 plus free shipping today when you visit shopflamingo.com/lady. That's right. Go to shopflamingo.com/lady.
My legs are really smooth.
Is that a flamingo?
I'm a flamingo. Is that?
Yeah, that was good. Hey, if you like listening to our voices on the show, come listen to them live
Yeah.
in person. Brandy, you're doing sauce.
I'm doing sauce this Friday, the 22nd.
Friday on the 22nd.
Yeah. Come see me and Babs there. That's going to be super duper
Yeah,
fun.
that's every Friday at Desano Pizza, 8 p.m. It's a show that I co-run, and it's really fun. It's been crazy, good crowds. Tess just did it, too. It was super fun.
So fun.
Come check out Brandy and me at the show this Friday.
Hell yeah. And then I just want to get a couple dates on the calendar for the beginning of March. I am going to be doing Guilty Treasures at the Hotel Cafe on March 6th, and which is
a great venue.
Yeah, it's a great
that's
place.
the one where you're singing.
Yeah, I'm singing All Star
That's
by
amazing.
Smash Mouth. If you want to come see me sing live, Alan Strickland-Williams is already coming because me and Alan send each other voicemails of All Star whenever we hear it in a store.
Somebody.
It's whenever we hear it in a store, we just hold our phone up and call each other.
So cute.
And we just
that.
we just don't answer each other's phone calls. And then second Saturday of every month is Picture This. Our next one is at on March 9th. And get those tickets ahead of time because our first one sold the fuck out, and they're limited tickets now. So come to those.
And I'll be in where the fuck will I be? I'm going to be in Austin for the first time. I'm so excited on April 13th and 14th at the Velveeta Room. The Velve.
Nice.
I've heard it's a really fun venue. So if you live in Austin, please come
great.
out to that. I'll probably be doing other shows around there, but those are the ones you should probably come to. And then in San Francisco, May 2nd through 5th, I'm going to be at Cheaper Than Therapy, all those dates. So come up to see that.
Hell yeah.
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 That's
Yeah.
see us
And I
live.
should be in LA for that month. So follow me on Twitter and I'll tweet out my shows.
All right. We'll see you there.
We're back. I'm Tess.
I'm Babs.
I'm Brandy.
And we're Gabby.
Hi.
And Tess, we forgot. Tess was gonna. Tess
Yeah,
apparently has
I'm
an
sorry.
image.
She needs to show us something.
She keeps threatening to show us an image.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I just need to tell you guys about this because
Okay.
I saw it a week ago. It's a
Okay.
week ago today that I first saw this image.
Where did you see it for the first time?
I'll tell you. I
Okay.
was with my friend Jen. She showed it to me. It's changed the way I see humans. It's haunted my dreams.
Is it like
Oh,
a,
no.
something about an asshole? I feel like
What is it? Yeah, it's
not-
goatsy. It's
you gonna show
actually
us
the
Lemon
year
Party?
I feel like
2000.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not
Okay.
good.
Tess is about to show us Two Girls, One Cup.
Yeah, and we're
Yeah,
like, we
it's
have some
really
bad
bad.
news for you. It was already a thing.
And you're never going to be able to unsee it, and I'm showing it to you because if I have to know this, you do too. Are you ready?
I'm scared.
Yes, what is it?
It's what a baby's skull looks like.
Oh, that's not back.
Oh, the
Look
teeth.
at that.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this.
I've seen that before.
So your adult teeth, your adult teeth.
Oh, I
are
didn't see the
here.
both rows of
Yes.
teeth. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Get a
Oh
nice,
my
good
god.
look.
Okay,
So
I'm seeing
your
it.
so your adult teeth are here. So if you ever see a baby, know that they have two
Yes.
rows
Babies
of teeth
have this
in
in
their
their
mouth.
face.
Ew,
hell yeah.
this is a good horror movie. You need this. It's like the
90?
Alien with like one set of teeth.
90% of their face is teeth.
Ew.
I mean,
Look how close it is to their nose.
Yes.
that's why you
Teeth,
can't.
human adult teeth and a baby face.
That's why you
Yeah.
can't trust a baby.
Yeah.
Ew, what the fuck
It's like a
is
shark.
that?
A baby
Why
is
are we
just like a
born-
shark.
Like, why are all
you-
mammals born like this?
I don't know.
No, because
Because they don't all lose their teeth
And
and,
then
stuff,
look at
right?
the bottom ones. Their chin is all teeth too.
So if you touch a baby's chin, you're touching
It's all
teeth.
teeth.
Get in
Yeah.
there. Feel the teeth.
Oh.
So that's part of the teething process too.
Ugh.
Then. It
I
must
guess,
be.
yeah, must hurt.
I mean, they
wonder-
straight up have
Oh, that's
adult
why.
teeth.
Because it's just
under-
pushing out your.
Yeah.
It's just pushing out the old. They're
Funky.
they're pushing in the new teeth.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
babies
The first
first.
teeth.
the very first. So first, they're probably all pushed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
will
they're even
say,
higher.
This baby's got a janky mouth.
Well, there's like
yeah.
a very big dip in the chin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aww.
I think these ones haven't.
Sorry,
bad
baby.
for it.
These haven't come in yet. These are
Yeah.
the adult teeth coming
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is.
Wow.
That's a
Wait,
trip.
Tess, how did this come up?
Yeah.
I have to say, I thought it was me something about an asshole, so I feel better. I
You feel
just
pretty
was
good?
Right.
okay.
That it was a human face. Whew, thank
Yeah.
God.
See, for me, the worst part is that it's a human face.
I just
Like,
love.
Oh,
love
I
the
see.
skull.
this is in
love
every
the skeleton.
baby.
Yeah.
This is ruining babies for me. I mean, really. I forget how it
You just hold one's head and go, "You're full of teeth."
Wait, how old? Yeah, how old are you when you start losing your teeth and getting your adult? Like, you're like
like
10
third
or
grade,
something?
fourth grade,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
10.
9 or 10.
Yeah, yeah, around there.
So like a
so weird that it's that whole time.
yeah,
Just
that whole
in there.
time,
Right?
The whole time.
the whole time.
Just full of teeth.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
I mean, kid faces are mostly teeth.
Yep.
How nasty is that?
Yep.
That
Yep.
makes me think that like the tooth fairy is like really fucking metal. Like you think that she's this adorable, like very similar to what's her name from Peter Pan, but it's like no.
Oh,
She's got-
Tinkerbell?
she's just got like a fuck ton of teeth on her at all times.
Yeah.
It gives me a whole new perspective on the Tooth
She's
Fairy.
like, she's just got like a belt and a necklace made of teeth. She's just like
Yeah, she's just like, I'll come back for the adult ones later.
I know. Why do we act like that's a cute thing? The tooth fairy?
No, it's creepy.
That's super creepy.
I mean, I think it was supposed to be like, you know, so yeah, you didn't feel bad about losing your tooth.
That your
right?
face looked like this?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, see, you didn't know you were a fucking monster.
And then she comes for your adult teeth when you're in your coffin later. I need to complete the set.
Did you guys ever believe in the tooth fairy?
No.
I must have. I don't remember. I must have because I was real into losing my teeth. 'Cause I was like, I gotta get that money.
Money.
Like was real into it.
That's
like,
where it starts.
would do the thing of like tying the string around it and
Oh,
slamming
really?
the door. Yeah, was like mad into it.
Were you successful?
Yeah. Well, I had the only time I've ever punched someone in like a way that wasn't like in a boxing class or whatever was this kid in 5th grade. He had a loose tooth, and he was like, my mom said that if I lose my tooth by the end of the day, I can get rollerblades. And I was like, oh, like, and I should have asked for a cut of those rollerblades, by the way. But I was like, oh, you want me to hit you and it'll come out? And he was like, yeah, great idea. So I punched him and the tooth came out. And then we had to go to like the principal's office, and they were like, why did you hit this kid? And he had to be like, I wanted her to. And then they were like, what do we do with that? Like,
What did they do with that?
like call my parents, and my parents were like, okay.
Whatever.
And then they were like, yeah, we'll take care of it. And then at home they were like, who cares?
They were like, we're taking out your whole mouth to pay for your bat mitzvah.
exactly, right? Come
I
here.
went to space camp on these teeth.
Exactly. Oh, they took my adult teeth too. But yeah, but I remember it was very satisfying because we got it. We did like in one.
That's great.
Yeah.
What a bad parenting move on the mom of like other kids.
I think
Seems like a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Who knows when that tooth is going to come out?
Yeah.
I think he was like
Gotta lose it
really,
today.
yeah.
It's a lot.
I think he was like annoying her, the mom, by like just playing with it constantly, and like
I
it
see.
was, I don't know.
I do remember that. Remember playing? That was so weird. Like playing with your loose teeth with your tongue.
telling your friends
That
like
weird
feel
gum.
this
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh, that weird gum.
I love
Ew.
to
With the gum
just
hole?
like flick it at people. I remember like being able to like move my tooth like in and out of my mouth. Like,
And then you would like
Good
get to
people?
go to the nurse if you lost it in class because your
Oh,
mouth
yeah.
was like gushing blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Humanity's weird.
Yeah.
Like that's part. Like we're all just like chill. Like
I know,
dumb
but the thing
animals.
is, it's not the double set of teeth. It's just in general.
Yeah,
People
we're
are
very-
weird
You're
creatures.
talking to an alien. You're like, so when we reach, the ages of 9 and 10, whilst in school, parts of our body falls off of our body, and then we get, and everyone is
exchange for
happy
money.
about it. And then we go to the nurse's office, and then later we exchange it for money. What?
why?
That's crazy.
That's really fucking
It's
nuts.
the beginning of sacrificing yourself for that fucking paycheck,
Exactly.
baby. That's when it starts.
That's the tooth fairy's the man.
yeah. She's got a big stogie in an office in the sky, just like, yeah, let me get you into it.
Oh my god, what a nightmare.
Should we do a lady problem?
Let's do it.
I want to shout out to listener Doug, one of my friends from Utah, who said that his 2-year-old son knows the lyrics, knows the song now. So this one, I can't remember his son's name, but this is for him.
Hi,
This
guys.
version specifically.
Lady problems. Lady problems. Lady problems. Do you have them? Lady problems. Do you have them? People have them.
Hey, gals. So first, I want to thank you because you've literally changed my life. Oh my God. I was an in-the-closet virgin for years. At 25, the most I'd done was dance with a guy at high school dance, and he was a friend who was gay. I had a whole list of personal issues, and I was and remain super fat. So anytime a guy did hit on me, I assumed it was a trick or a prank, and I'd be a bitch to them. I found your podcast and listened to the back catalog, and there was an episode with Matt Myra where a lady wrote in talking about her similar issues. I listened to your advice and decided to just get over it and get laid. And I did. And I have you to thank for that.
I hope you were listening to the podcast while you.
Yes.
Of course,
Do you think
have
anyone's
to.
ever fucked to our podcast?
I think on accident. I would
Never on purpose.
Wait, someone told
Wait,
us
no, the shower.
fucked
The
in the
French,
shower.
the French Stewart
To the
theme
French
song.
Stewart.
God bless.
Yeah. I'm French Stewart.
Wow.
Yeah, she said he thrusted to the I'm.
Yeah.
No, God. God. Wow. Horrible.
We're making a difference out there.
God.
Okay. So now I'm engaged to the person that I lost my virginity to.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. I was about to make the joke that they're married now.
In my attempt to find a guy to just sleep with, I accidentally found the nicest, sweetest, most loving man ever. He's amazing. He's been with me through my mother's suicide attempt, my father's sudden death, my own issues with depression, my grandmother's death, my mother's foreclosure. We were living in the in-law and found out suddenly we had to move because she stopped paying the mortgage, and all this other horrible shit that has happened to me in the last few years. He's been by my side for all of it and is nothing but supportive. The issue is he's the only guy that I've ever fucked. And while I'm 99.99999% sure that I'm making the right decision to marrying him, I also know I'm never going to know what sex is like with another person. I just need to hear from friends that I'm not missing that much since I have such a great guy, but none of my friends know that I was a virgin for so long. I'm sure they did, but we just didn't discuss it. So I turn to you gals. What's your opinion? I will add, should this come up, threesomes have been discussed, but I'm such a jealous and insecure person, I don't think I could share him. Love you all, a lady.
Aww.
Share him.
Share him with a dude.
Yeah, what are you talking about? What about
Doesn't
what
have to be
about
another
him sharing
girl.
her?
Yeah.
God, people always forget about that.
I know.
It is
like,
such a sweet option.
Yeah, there's the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, another.
What if you just get another dude in there?
Yeah, then you get. To
Doesn't he have
fuck him.
friends?
Doesn't he have friends he wants to bang?
Yeah,
He doesn't even have to be part. He could just like watch.
He
or
can
whatever.
just tell you guys what to do. No.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'd be into watching you fuck somebody. I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of guys would like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, get another dude in there. I don't think you would. I mean, I don't think you would be jealous if you're the one getting shared, right?
yeah, I don't
No.
think so.
And
not,
she did
but-
say they had talked about threesomes, so I don't think it's off the table to bring up two guys.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that said, yes, I think that casual dick is not as good as dick that you love
Yes.
at all. So yeah, I mean, like, if this is the person you want to be with, you're not missing. I mean, like, casual sex is like way
Yeah.
better in theory than it is.
Yeah. Oh God,
Yeah.
it's really
practice.
overrated for sure. And I
Yeah.
mean, if you're a very sexual person, that's your only option, which it was for me for a long time. Then sure, that's what I was doing.
Totally.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
it's a million times better with someone you want to be with, and
that
it's
you
definitely not
trust
worth the trade in any sense of the word.
No.
Yeah,
yeah.
I think you're fine. Because
Yeah.
you said your percentage was like 99.9999. You know, if you had been like, well, it's 80%, I'd be like, oh, maybe there's a different answer here. But
I agree.
Yeah.
But like, you seem like you're fine. You seem like you got it down. I mean, I do understand the whole thing of like, oh, I didn't mean to get into a relationship with this person, and now it's like gotten away from me, and I'm like, oh man, okay. But
I feel like it's a good sign.
yeah, sometimes when that happens, you were like, in the back of your mind, you're like, this person's not great, but here we're doing this, and you don't seem to have that problem.
Exactly.
You
yeah.
know that he's good, so I think you'll be fine. I think bring up an MMF threesome, see what he says about that. And
Maybe like your birthday.
yeah, your birthday, Christmas,
The extra pressure on.
yeah,
Special event.
get on an
Hanukkah.
app, get on OkCupid
There
together.
Get him to get a couple of different dildos, and then it feels like you got a couple of guys in the house. You know?
Or no, I do think a good like threesome light is just watch porn with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not already
I thought
doing
you
that.
meant like a literal light bulb.
No, the brand that we use. You want all the unflattering
light.
shadows to just be washed away.
Yeah, I think I mean I would say like maybe it sounds like you don't want to really deal with like a hey, we each get to fuck somebody else once a year or something, because it sounds like you don't want to deal
Yeah.
with thinking of him with somebody else.
Yes.
So that's not an ideal. I think eventually if you feel like it, you could try that, but
Yeah, nothing's set in stone. Who knows
yeah.
what'll happen in like 10 years?
Yeah, if you and you guys sound like you're going to be together a long time, and like eventually might be comfortable enough to just be like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Go,
you're
go
fucking
ahead.
marrying the guy. When you're 65 years old, you might decide to go to a key party.
Yeah, exactly.
Please do.
always think
And please still be listening to us, and please write to us and tell
Well,
us.
that's something about relationships. I think people think whatever the relationship is set in stone, and life is so long.
They
like
change
you have
over
no
time.
idea like what your relationship will be like in 5 years, 10 years. Part of it is that you got to grow together.
Yeah, I mean, my parents have been married for 50. No, they met 50 years ago, and it's like, I mean, they met when they were teenagers, and I
Right.
can't imagine how many phases they've gone through together. And like, I think you do when you're like, well, this is it. Like, kind of how we assume life is after high school. We're like, and then I do go to college and get a job, and you're like, oh, this is not it at all.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to like go through a million phases together, and you're gonna get so comfortable with them,
Right.
probably, that you would maybe
you don't feel jealous
to that.
anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe like he's like, you know, I actually want this for you or whatever. I don't know. That being said, first dates are a nightmare. Like you starting over or you going with, you know, like even if you're in a relationship. I was talking to a friend of mine who's in an open relationship, and my girlfriend and I are non-monogamous, and he was like, oh yeah, well I love, like, I meet up with people. I love going on first dates with all these girls. And I was like, are you out of your mind?
That's the worst part.
Yeah. He was like, well, it's so exciting and fun. And I was like, you couldn't pay me to go on a first date. Like anyone that I ever hook up with is always someone I already know. Because I can't, if I don't know you, I don't want to know
I'm
you.
not doing this whole like,
no.
let me meet a stranger at mid city at a wine
It's
bar.
the worst part of the party. The beginning.
Absolutely.
Who are your parents? Who's your dog?
Exactly.
Do you have brothers?
Lord,
No,
oh
where are your
God.
friends?
No, don't even. The idea of doing that again is a nightmare. So you just like anyone that I mean, I've always been this way where like I only really hook up with people I already know. So like the idea of like sitting on a first date after I've been with my girlfriend for a couple years, terrible idea. So like just think about sitting on a first date and how awful that is.
Yeah, and then just wait until you meet somebody you really want to fuck and then get permission.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. That you already know them. Exactly.
But yeah, you sound like you're in a good place, I feel like. And thank you for, I mean, that's really an honor that we were able to help you at all. So that's
Honestly, I'm
that's
so
really
happy
sweet.
we helped you get laid.
We're just getting people laid out there.
Yes.
Hell yeah. Very proud of us.
That's what this is for. And we're help people get it. If you get Gabby's book, you'll be, get some help with money. We're helping in
Yeah.
everyone's
God.
area.
Wow. And then your life is like totally, you marry this guy, you get good with money, you guys live in a mansion,
Yeah,
maybe
you
you
buy-
all have a
make
bunch
a
of
fuck
concubines.
dungeon.
Yeah, fuck
Lamborghini,
dungeon.
Lamborghini concubines, fuck dungeon,
Done.
fireplace.
Fireplace. Finished.
Yes.
Did you guys
Fireplace comes after the fuck dungeon.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that house for sale on Reddit, Redfin or whatever, that had that sex dungeon in the basement?
Nice.
It was crazy because it was really nice, but it was an open door. There was no door.
What?
On
Yeah.
the dungeon?
On the dungeon, it was like literally like it went into a staircase and there was no. I was like,
First
well,
question,
Well-
can we put a door in?
or a beaded curtain at least.
Yeah,
beaded
you need some kind of.
I feel
Wait, so
beaded
they were
curtain is
like-
nice for a fuck dungeon.
yeah.
They were like, buy our
expensive,
house,
just get one.
fully furnished, fuck dungeon.
Yes. Oh,
fuck
it was
dungeon
nice.
is
It was very
furnished?
nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
Absolute
No.
wall
Is
clip.
there like existing fuck toys in there?
No, it looked like
There's
mostly
a room.
swings and stuff
Yeah.
like
that's
that.
fun.
It was like set up. It had like a pentagram that you could get
yeah,
tied
the pentagram
to.
and a
Oh.
stockade thing.
Got
That
it.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
Because that takes a while to collect that stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, it was expensive. It was like
Yeah.
an expensive.
Was it
setup.
you to rent the place or buy the
buy.
place?
I
But
hope
they
I.
said that people were. I think it was like an ad, like a secret ad for the. so many people
yeah.
said they were renting on Airbnb and shit.
Got it.
So
Yeah.
Then you're like, ugh, this was used a lot.
Whole sex parties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I mean.
for
Like,
sure.
And then an extensive cleaning crew.
yeah. Oh,
It's
man. Oh,
really
God.
funny. I saw an interview with one of the neighbors who was a guy that was just like, and it's just happening down the street from us, and we had no idea. It was so
Oh yeah, I didn't think about the neighbors. That's pretty great.
our kids right
Honestly,
there.
I would rather have a sex party next door than cokeheads.
Oh,
For
yeah.
sure.
I've had cokeheads and they're loud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and my boyfriend had very drunk sex the other night, and it was very loud. And his roommate, I was like, oh man, I wonder if Al heard us. And he was like, yeah, I asked him. He was like, oh yeah, it was hot. He's a gay guy.
That's so sweet.
I was like, oh, that's nice.
I
Oh,
know.
yeah.
That's the best possible scenario.
Yeah.
That's adorable.
I was like, oh, that feels good.
Friendship.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Everybody's welcome.
Yeah, but Gabby, tell everybody where they can get your book and follow you
Sure.
online and all that jazz.
The Bad with Money book is out now. You can get it wherever you buy books. GabbyDunn.com/badwithmoneybook has some links. And then I read the audiobook. So if you get the audiobook, it's this voice.
Fuck yeah.
And then I'm at Gabby Road on Instagram, GABYROAD, and then at Gaby Dunn on Twitter. Instagram's better. And then Allison and I, my comedy partner I talked about, we have another book that comes out in July that's available for pre-order called Please Send Help, which is a novel. So if you want to pre-order that, because you're like, I don't like money, but I do like fiction
Or
books.
double whammy.
Yeah. Then get that one.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on the show again.
Thank you for having me.
To our patrons, we're going to have a top secret session with Gabby after this.
Yes.
So we'll see y'all over there.
See you over there.
Bye.
Can't get enough of us? Subscribe to our Patreon for exclusive bonus content, access to our first 100 episodes, and more. Go to patreon.com/ladytolady now to sign up. As little as $1 a month keeps a roof over the glam cave and keeps you laughing, even when your coworkers stare. That's patreon.com/ladytolady.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Lady to Lady Comedy. Join our Facebook group, Lady to Lady Podcast, to chat with other fans about episodes, or even post your own lady problems. Check out our website, ladytoladycomedy.com, for show notes, videos, and merch.
And follow our individual accounts, Babs Gray, Brandazzle, and Testify Barker for jokes and info and where you can see us perform live. And if you want to send us snacks, stickers, or a lock of your own hair, I don't know, whatever, our P.O. Box is 412-794, Los Angeles, California, 90041. And please, leave us a review on iTunes, but only if you like us.
We love you.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.